The first part of this tape I made 7 years ago. Maybe some repetition, but so what? March the 2nd, 1996, closed a chapter of 70 years for Morris and me. He being 93 and me almost 87. A long road of varied happenings for both of us. But God, who is the designer of all lives and never makes mistakes, had his own plans for us. So, for whom it may concern, I'll give a thumbnail sketch of our lives before we met. I had always lived in Minnesota, most of my life growing up with my grandparents due to the loss of my mother at a very young age. Morris lived with his grandparents also. God's plans do parallel sometimes. He was born in Wisconsin, lost a leg in a farm accident in North Dakota at 10 years old, went to school in South Dakota, preparing himself to be a postal clerk when he learned they did not hire handicapped people. Remember, that was 70 plus years ago. You say there is no justice now? During all that time, we were growing and maturing to start on that 70-year journey, which neither of us knew about at that time, but God did. He then directed Morris to Minnesota, his first trip to this state. He, being an avid wild game hunter wherever he lived, he brought that love with him to Minnesota. He done trapping and hunting any time he found some extra minutes from working on the farm of his great uncle. In due time, he and I met, believed, and agreed we were designed for each other. Don't you think God had us in his plans all along? We did. The plans we kept shaping up required money. Those days, there was a $25 bounty on coyotes. Now, if he could just get that coyote. Doesn't sound like much money nowadays, does it? But 70 years ago, it was a good amount. He got the coyote and a small fee for the hide, bought our license, my ring, and the bare necessities to start a home, which we did. Many happy years followed. Love will keep you together, and it did. Not without problems, heartaches, and tears. No one has raised a family without a portion of that. And we braved those years together. But the time came when I didn't have Morris to share it all with me. Reason explained earlier in this tape. But God graced me with extra strength that was there until I needed it. And believe me, the past 7 years I sure have tapped into that and have found peace through it all. Worries are of no avail. When one door shuts, another opens. Somehow it never fails. Some days were so long and hard to bear. Then I knew someone had knelt in prayer. Although I am alone, I am enjoying all the good things dealt to me among lots of good friends. Morris is at home with God and Arlene and his mother and mine, and that door will open for me in God's own time, as it will for each of us. Love you all. And remember, history does repeat. God gave us 2 grandchildren to raise and love as our own, which we did, and they returned that love for us, as Morris and as I did for our grandparents. Thank you, Sis and Jim. But I know God does not make mistakes, and I thank him that he didn't have to suffer any more than he did with the terrible disease of cancer. He and Stella always came to Dad's birthday. The weather never was too cold, too stormy, but what they were there. And anything else that we needed, he was there to. I have gone through much deep water, but God has always kept me afloat. And I am headed for that distant shore and higher ground where there will be no more tears, no more heartache, and I can celebrate a wonderful time with my family who has gone on before. What a glorious day that will be. And in God's own time, you all come and join us there, and we will have a party. That is my prayer.